The Southern African Human Rights Defenders Network has condemned death threats directed at Mozambican activist Professor Adriano Nuvunga. The group says yesterday morning Nuvunga discovered 2 AK-47 assault rifle bullets that had been hurled through his window, along with them a chilling note of warning. Let's bring him in now live from Maputo to get more on this. Professor Nuvunga, good afternoon. Are you safe?
Good afternoon.
What happened?
Early morning yesterday, we found these bullets with these signs indicating Nuvunga, be careful. These are threats. We immediately called the police. We reviewed the camera images. These are showing 2 men walking towards the police station that is close to my house, and they have thrown these AK-47 bullets from the window with these indications that I have to be careful. This is not the first time that this happens. 2 years ago, they have threatened me with a bomb at my house, and this is a directed and targeted threat to me, aimed at silencing me, aimed at threatening me and stopping me from my work.
So what did the police say? Are the police investigating this latest incident, or there's this latest threat against you?
We have gone through all the procedures with the police and the investigation police. We have handed in all the necessary information and the camera images, and the police can easily identify who those people are. And remember, these people, they have walked towards the police station, which is half a minute away from my house. If they were a normal people, they would have done the other way around, not to run towards the police station, because they would be fearing meeting the police people that at that time of the day they would be circulating there. So this is something that we suspect, that these people, they are the security apparatus in the country that is acting in a coordinated manner to threat us and stop human rights defenders from doing their work.
Why would they want to stop you? Why do they want to silence you?
It is obvious, as I've indicated to you, this is not the first time. 2 years ago, they have threatened me with a bomb. The work that we do is being looked at by those in the positions of power, particularly connected to the ruling elite in the country, as work that is challenging them, the work that is exposing corruption, work that is exposing violations of human rights, and it aims at expanding access to justice for communities, particularly the marginalized people. And this, it puts in threat the culture of impunity that is deeply embedded, and it allows corruption and other manifestations of bad governance thrive in the country.
I see there was a statement issued by the Southern African Human Rights Defenders Network today, Tuesday, following this incident outside your home. And they're condemning this attack. And I understand 31 human rights organizations and 27 leading activists from 7 countries across the region of Southern Africa are condemning this, and they're showing you support. That does give you courage to carry on doing what you're doing in Mozambique?
This is a clear statement that civil society movement is against threatening of defense. This is a clear message. This message is directed to the Mozambican authorities here to investigate, but also to move away from threatening defenders. As to the work we do, as I've indicated, what we do is legal. What we do is aimed at making sure that the marginalized, the human rights are protected and respected, and to ensure that the marginalized group have access to justice, and that the Mozambican in general have access to dignity. So that in no way we can stop. And I would say here, we have learned this from Samora Machel, a luta continua.
Mozambique has got some social unrest at the moment. There's been a lot of challenges that the people are raising. This threat, this latest threat against, you say 2 years ago there was a bomb threat. Now somebody threw a couple of AK-47 bullets with a written note to say, you better watch out, Nuvunga. I mean, is there coincidence? Was there something happening currently in the country that has made these people threaten you so openly?
Yes, as you have clearly indicated, now there is a widespread dissatisfaction with the poor delivery from the current government, and they are moving it towards their Congress in few months. And we think that this context is leading to some of the people in the positions of government to act the way they acting. I should also mention that Mozambique, as a country, it was downgraded from obstructed civic space to a more confrontational civic space, meaning that the government of Mozambique is being labeled as in the position of treating civic space, of not respecting the rights of association, and of using the police to shrink the civic space. And this is not new. You will remember the killing of Anastasio Matabel precisely 2 years ago. So the incident you mentioned of bomb at my house, it happened soon after the killing of Anastasio Matabel. So there is an overall environment of intimidation and of targeting of human rights defenders.
I mean, finally, as we conclude, I just want to remind our viewers just to recollection that you and your organization have been at the forefront in leading legal efforts here in South Africa against the extradition of former Finance Minister Manuel Chang to Mozambique, but you've been pushing for him to be extradited to America, where he's been indicted in relation to the hidden debt of $2 billion. A few weeks ago, the South African Constitutional Court dismissing the Mozambican government's application to appeal, but now they're still waiting to hear from Bloemfontein, from the South African Supreme Court of Appeal. All these things you've been leading, do you think there's a sense here that because you are making progress, maybe in the case of Manuel Chang, that you are a target?
Absolutely, absolutely. These are the very same. Manuel Chang is part of a system that has been thriving because of impunity, because they have access to the instruments of repressive instruments of the state, which are being used against civilians, which are being used against human rights defenders, instead of protecting the space and protecting the human rights. This is the situation in Mozambique, where impunity is thriving, and what we have been doing in the case of Manuel Chang, where we have positioned ourselves against the Mozambique state in order to extradite Manuel Chang to America. That has been looked at as having crossed the red line.
Thank you very much, Professor Adriano Nuvunga. I'm just going to say this. Please do take care of yourself. Do stay safe. He's a Mozambican leading human rights activist who received another threat to his life yesterday. A couple of AK-47 bullets thrown at his window with a note that says, you better watch out, Nuvunga. And he suspects, as he says, he's alleging that some people in the security establishment are using this to intimidate him and others who are fighting for human rights and against corruption in Mozambique.